All right, let's just jump right into it. If you've ever even thought about going solar, I bet you've heard this big, exciting promise: 100% solar offset. I mean, it sounds incredible, right? The ultimate energy win, a ticket to finally breaking free from the power company. But what does that actually mean for your bank account? And that brings us to the number one question, the one everybody asks. If my solar system is designed to offset 100% of all the energy I use, does my electric bill just, vanish? Does it actually go down to zero? So the short answer is nope, not quite. And honestly, this little detail is the single biggest reason why some homeowners feel a bit confused, maybe even blindsided, after they get their panels installed. It is without a doubt the most common misunderstanding in the world of solar, and today we're going to clear it all up. So let's just tackle this myth head on. This idea that a 100% offset automatically equals a $0 electric bill, it's a super easy assumption to make, but the reality, it's just a little more complicated than that. I mean, it's a totally logical thought. You see a proposal that says 100% offset, and your brain immediately goes, awesome, my bill is gone. But there's a really important piece of the puzzle that's missing from that equation. And that missing piece is your connection to the utility grid. This is the absolute key, the often overlooked factor that explains why you will always have some kind of bill from your local power company. This is really the fundamental thing to get. A typical home solar system doesn't actually take you off-grid. Nope, you are still physically hooked up, and you're using the utility's infrastructure every single day, even when your panels are just cranking out tons of power. The best way to think about the grid is like cloud storage for your energy. It's a great analogy. So during a sunny afternoon, your system is making way more power than you need. That extra juice, you send it out to the cloud, which is the grid. Then at night, when your panels are sleeping, you just pull that energy right back. But that service, that storage and delivery system, it's not free. So what are you actually paying for? Well, first, there's usually a small monthly connection fee, just for the privilege of being hooked up. Second, if you use natural gas for your furnace or stove, solar isn't going to touch that part of your bill. And finally, there's something called a true-up bill. It's basically an annual settlement. If over the whole year you ended up using a little more power than you produced, you'll have to pay for that difference. And to make this real, let's look at a couple of actual examples. A utility like TEP out in Arizona might charge you $12 a month just to be connected. In Idaho, Idaho Power charges $25. Now, these aren't huge amounts for sure, but they're not zero, and they will be on your bill no matter how much solar energy you're making. Okay, so you're still going to have a small bill, but please don't get hung up on that, because this is where the story gets really, really good. The goal was never a perfect $0 bill. The real win with solar is way more powerful. It's a massive, truly game-changing reduction in what you pay. Check out this real-world example. Take a homeowner in Arizona. Before they went solar, their summer bills could be just brutal. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month. But after getting a 100% offset system, that gigantic bill shrinks down to just that small, predictable grid fee. It isn't zero, but that right there, that transformation is the whole point. So let's put a number on it. We're talking about a 90 to 95% reduction in your electricity costs. You're not just chipping away at your bill. You're effectively wiping out almost the entire thing, leaving just those tiny, unavoidable fees we mentioned. And you know what? That is the win. It's about taking a huge, unpredictable, and frankly painful monthly expense and turning it into something tiny and totally manageable. That is the real financial power of going solar. So this brings us to what I think is the right way to think about solar. It's not about chasing some impossible dream of a perfect $0 bill. It's about getting something that's actually much more valuable: predictability. And here's why that's so important over time. Without solar, you are completely at the mercy of the utility. And what do? They raise rates, historically by 4 to 7%, every single year. It's a cost that only goes up. But with solar, you essentially lock in your rate. You trade that unpredictable rising cost for a small, stable fee that you can count on for decades to come. You see, the real goal here isn't to disappear from the grid entirely. It's to take back control. It's about you deciding what you pay for power, instead of letting the utility company decide for you year after painful year. And this is maybe the most important takeaway for you. As you're looking at your options, if any company or salesperson promises that you will have no electric bill ever, that should be a major red flag. They're either mistaken themselves, or worse, they're not being totally straight with you. So I'll leave you with this final thought. What is actually more valuable to you in the long run? Chasing an impossible, perfect $0 bill, or gaining a predictable, stable, and massively reduced energy cost that you can count on for years and years? For most of us, I think the answer is pretty clear.